Hey Nintendo fans and collectors, Lithium here from my channel Nintendo Collecting. What is the current state of Nintendo in my opinion? Can anything be done to save the Wii U? How is the 3DS faring? And should President Iwata be fired? All this and more on this week's episode of Question Lithium. Let's press start. This week's first question comes from Bryan Crane. What do you think of the current state of Nintendo? Just before I get to my thoughts about the current state of Nintendo, I want to talk about what I actually know about Nintendo right now. I look up Nintendo research all the time. I'm pretty knowledgeable about it. So on Forbes right now, they're stating that Nintendo is worth about $16 billion with the B. And other estimates are at least at $10 billion. That means, for example, if the 3DS failed, if the Wii U failed, and Nintendo's next generation of consoles failed, they could still afford to probably make one more generation of consoles. That could fail. It's obscene how much money they have. So really, when everyone's worried about Nintendo, talking about how they might sell all of their IPs off, maybe they'll just go to make games for Xbox or make games for Sony. No, I don't think they will. I think Nintendo's pretty set in their ways. I think they really like making their own consoles and making great content and games to support those consoles. I think they're pretty old school with this mentality, and they're not changing anytime soon. Next, what I really know about Nintendo, though, is they're coming off their best success of all time for their home console, the Nintendo Wii. This thing sold 100 million units worldwide with, I think, about 900 million games sold. These numbers are from Nintendo themselves. That is Nintendo's best home console ever. The other great success they had last generation was the Nintendo DS. And the DS family sold about 154 million units, the second best console of all time, Nintendo's best handheld console, and about 940 million software, meaning games. That's incredible. So Nintendo had a lot to live up to this generation. And what do I think of how they did this generation? They botched their launches. In summary, they're not smart with their launch concepts. They have a great idea for a console. This is the 3DS. 3D gaming without the glasses, incredible, but they didn't have the content to support it immediately at launch. They had Steel Diver, which incredibly is now a free-to-play game, and that just speaks volumes about how they took their launch seriously, because they didn't this time around with both of these games. The Wii U obviously had the 2D Mario platformer. This is the first time gamers get to play any IPs from Nintendo in HD. It says right there in HD. It's an HD console from Nintendo, a brand new Wii U. Their marketing has not been exceptional. I'll get to that later on, I think, this episode. But if it's the first time you're showing us an HD console for Nintendo and you show us a 2D game, that doesn't really make sense. The other great game they had was obviously The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, which is a remake of a GameCube game. So it took them way too long to get around to making amazing games for these consoles. What else do I know about these consoles? And I know for a fact the 3DS has sold almost 44 million units worldwide. Just over 43 to 44 million, with about 163 million games. But at first, at launch, this thing didn't do that well at all. They did have the Ambassador program. They made this do a price drop. They completely turned this around, and now it's pretty successful, especially in a very difficult market with tablets and with cell phones and competing with many different devices for gamers' time, because you can game on almost any device now. So I do think the 3DS is a success. It's probably my favorite handheld console ever. It's amazing. It's incredible. I have a lot of fun with it. If you don't have a 3DS, you should definitely hold one in your hands. Check it out. Nintendo's making so many great games for it. So that's the good news from Nintendo. They're doing great with the 3DS now. They're being really smart with it. They have a lot of good games. Conversely, though, we look at the Wii U. Now, I know for a fact the Wii U has sold just over 6 million units, but it was released in 2012. The Xbox One and the PS4 were released last year. The Xbox One has about 4.5 million units sold right now, and the PS4 already passed the Wii U, even though it's a year after release. It's about 7 million units. So the Wii U has a lot of work to be doing. It has a lot of catch-up work, considering it was released first anyways. It only has about 32 million software sold, which compared to the Wii, I mean, the Wii sold 900 million games. It's nowhere near that yet. Yes, it's only been maybe a year and a half the console's been out, and some great games have started to come, but Nintendo's marketing strategy is not the best. Their launch is not the best, and I really don't think the other thing they do well is take third-party support seriously. They're developing these very niche consoles, these very unique consoles, including the Wii, that are very difficult for other parties, like third parties, to port games to their consoles or to develop for their consoles in the first place. So right now EA is basically saying, we dropped the Wii U. We're not really supporting it right now. Because it's really difficult for them to port new games over their console that is Nintendo. Same with the 3DS. A lot of programmers don't know how to work with it that well and find out all the tricks of really using the system's capabilities to their full potential. So I think Nintendo needs to take their launches much more seriously with more support. I really think they need to start considering third-party support to be a high priority, and I really think they need to start taking online gaming as more of a high priority as well. I just think they can do a lot of things better. They are doing a lot of things well, and I do like a lot of their games out right now, but I do think there's a lot they could do to make their fans and consumers happier and make the marketplace basically more appealing for consumers to actually purchase their products, make it clearer with marketing. The last thing I think of Nintendo right now is I love Mario, I love Zelda, I love Pokemon, but my gosh, it's really time for a brand new franchise or IP from Nintendo, from Miyamoto himself. I know he made Pikmin, that's probably one of his most recent personal IPs that he was involved with, and I do think he knows it's time for a new IP. I want to compare Nintendo to Disney. Disney has the greatest character ever, one of the greatest characters ever in my opinion, in cartoons, which is Mickey. Mickey's amazing, but he's not in almost every released game, or every released movie rather, I have games in my mind, from Disney. Mickey is awesome, but for example, they just had the movie Frozen. Frozen was a brand new story and it did tremendously well. Nintendo, you're creative, you're innovative, you're amazing, you make such fun games, it's time for a new IP. In summary, Nintendo's actually not in the worst shape as everyone thinks there is. I think they botched it considering last generation was such a success, but they're really not going anywhere. They're going to be around here for another decade or two at the least, and that's if everything goes wrong, and it won't. They turned the 3DS around. I believe they will be able to turn the Wii U around. Thank you for your question.
This next question is from Henri. What is the biggest reason you think the Wii U is not doing good or well?
The one reason that outlines why the Wii U is not doing as well as it should be doing, to me it really all comes down to one word, and that's marketing. Marketing has many different aspects of it, but I think this all starts dating back to the E3 that they announced the Wii U console. No one came out and basically held this console up in front of everyone and said, here it is. Nintendo Gaming in HD, the new console from Nintendo. It's brand new. You can finally see all your IP games in HD. This is it. It's different from the Wii. We're calling it the Wii U. But that's another problem to me. Even calling it the Wii U sounds like an add-on. The Wii is in the same silver gray text. The U basically makes it look like this is for you now, and maybe everyone's thinking it's just this tablet. To this day, I still hear people, and I had a Stag & Do recently, we gave away a Wii U. A lot of parents were still saying, oh, we don't have that tablet thing yet for our Wii. So that just really pains me to know that Nintendo dropped the ball so heavily on marketing from day one, not making it very apparent to everyone that this is a brand new console. Even if they called this the Wii 2, I think it would have done much better. I know they came out, they emphasized the tablet. To me, the tablet's great. You can play on the tablet, you can play on the TV, you can watch TV while also playing on the tablet. You can go in the next room and continue your gaming. That's awesome, that's amazing, it's incredible to me. However, the marketing for it just wasn't really there. The other thing that Nintendo wasn't really thinking of for marketing was trying to cater this to the casual gamer. I think this is cool for the hardcore. I'm a hardcore player, I would consider myself to be that. And to the casual, though, on the Wii, they sold a ton of consoles to the young and to the old. If I was trying to market this towards parents to buy for their 5-year-old, I don't know if they'd be buying this, because if they throw this tablet, it's probably going to break. And right now in North America, you can't really replace the tablet. I'm pretty sure in Japan you can, but it costs like $150, which is a lot of money for a controller, and to rebuy the entire console doesn't make sense. So if I was a parent, I probably wouldn't be buying this for my little kid. I wouldn't want them breaking it or using it too much. And if I was an elderly person, I'm not so sure how much this would make sense to me. The waggle of a Wii really made sense, but now it's a tablet. Nintendo would hate me for calling this a tablet because it's a gamepad, but everyone's going to compare this to a tablet. It only has one touch functionality. You can't use two touch with it, but the tablet really does. The gamepad works really, really well. I love the buttons. I do like the way it feels in my hand. For me, it's not that heavy for me to game for a few hours with. But I think they didn't market to the casual gamers all that well. I don't think they named it correctly. I don't think they launched it correctly. At E3, obviously, I said they didn't come out and show the console, but also at launch, they didn't have enough support that really emphasized why the gamepad is amazing and why it's so incredible and why you absolutely need to pick up this console like they did with the original Wii. In summary, the one major reason why I think the Wii U has not been doing as well as it can, and I do think Nintendo can turn it around, just like they turned around the 3DS, is marketing. Thank you very much for your question.
Our next question is from Emanuel Woodcook. What do you think could help Nintendo boost sales on the Wii U?
To give Nintendo my advice of how I would personally turn around the Wii U console, just like they turned around the 3DS, I'm going to try and give Nintendo some hints and some guidance and some advice about what I would do, because I do think this is a great console. I do think it can be quote-unquote saved. I think great games are coming. I do think this is a great console people could pick up and have a lot of fun with, and I'm really enjoying this console, actually. I think it's tremendous. Whenever I have friends over, we play it, and everyone smiles and everyone laughs, and everyone actually has a great time playing Nintendo, almost always. So I really think this console is going to pick up some sales. But what would I do personally? Number one, if I was to try and sell this console, it needs a price drop. I know it's basically $300 right now. I think the 3DS eventually had a price drop once they had more games out for it. I think eventually that's going to happen to the Wii U. This Christmas, I would highly expect a price drop, and I think if they really wanted to sell this console a lot, and I heard they're already making a profit on every sale of the console, they would drop this not only $50, they would drop it probably by $75 or $100. If this thing was $200, I would see a lot of people picking it up, especially when you start comparing it to $400 plus consoles of Xbox One and PS4. So that's number one. Price drop, I think, can help tremendously, especially considering the big games are coming, like Mario Kart, like Super Smash Bros., Hyrule Warriors. Those games will help sell units, but if the price is right, at about $200, I think that could really, really help. Another thing, number two, obviously, this goes back to the last question, just have smarter marketing. Please let everyone know that this is a brand new console from Nintendo. It's been a year and a half. A lot of people still aren't sure. If I could go back, I would start changing the name of this. I wouldn't call it the Wii U anymore. Just call it the Wii 2. The Wii to you. I don't care. Change the name or something. That would be such a better fix. And really, I'm not sure if you're allowed to even change the name at this point, but I would. I would if I could. I would call it the Wii 2. Call it the Wii to you as the gamepad. I don't care. It needs better marketing. You need to make it very apparent to people why the gamepad is awesome, and also, this is Nintendo's characters in HD. That's amazing. So those things would definitely help. The other things that would help is obviously just have more releases and stop with the massive droughts in your games. You did have The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, which was a remake of a GameCube game. Bring us more remakes of games from the GameCube. Bring us Super Mario Sunshine as a remake. Metroid Prime games as remakes in HD. Those things would look amazing. They look gorgeous. They look incredible. I want to play them. Other people do too. If you're going to have a drought, start releasing those games and basically have a game out every month or every 2 months that consumers would probably really, really want to buy. Because that would sell me more consoles, I think, if I was trying to sell the Wii U to other people. The next thing you need to have, I think you absolutely need to have to kind of boost the sales of the Wii U, you need to have such a strong E3 this year, next month in June. E3 for you better be huge, Nintendo. It better be awesome. I know you're showing up and you're not doing a massive press conference, you said, and I will have an episode catering specifically to E3 in a few weeks. But Nintendo, you've got to show up to E3. You've got to blow some people away. You've got to give them some games that everyone's saying, I must must buy this console to play the games, like Mario Kart, like Smash Brothers, like other things we haven't thought of yet that we are waiting for you, or a brand new Zelda game, obviously. A lot of people are waiting for that. A new Zelda, a new Metroid, a great showing at E3, some sort of price drop and better marketing, all of those things could help save the Wii U. Nintendo's only really predicting 3 million more sales the next year, but with Smash Brothers and Mario Kart and Hyrule Warriors and whatever else they have planned, I think this console is going to double in the next year. I wouldn't be surprised if by E3 next year, this thing sold 12 million units and doubled and surprised a lot of us and started to pick up some steam, just like the 3DS had some steam. Thank you very much for your question.
This last question is very interesting to me. It comes from Darian Hoffman. Do you think Nintendo will keep Iwata or fire him? What are your opinions on how he has marketed the Wii U? Since I have already answered the question about the Wii U marketing campaign, I'm going to focus my answers solely on President Iwata. He took over as president of Nintendo back in 2002, but keep in mind before that, the Yamauchi family had always elected someone president from within their own family. So the previous president held the position from 1949 until 2002, so which leads me to believe that Nintendo is okay with going through the struggles and sticking with the same president. Keep in mind, Iwata brought the success of both the Wii and the DS. He hit 2 grand slams, Nintendo's biggest releases ever, both handheld consoles and home consoles, so I think their market of investors is really going to be a bit patient with him because he brought so much success in the past. He originally worked for HAL Laboratory, he worked on Earthbound, he worked on Kirby games, he's had his hand in The Legend of Zelda, Mario, Animal Crossing, Wario. He is an extremely brilliant man and a gifted programmer, and he really knows what he's doing with Nintendo. But I also believe Iwata has his heart in the right place. He wants to bring Nintendo characters to life. He wants to bring consumers great experiences that they can enjoy and smile and really reflect on what Nintendo is to them, which to me, Nintendo is happiness. Nintendo is kind of feeling some sort of an accomplishment when you play a game and bringing a smile to your face and a smile to your friend's face and also having new experiences. I think Iwata does embody this. I do think the Wii U went a bit wrong, it's gone a bit awry, and he has fixed the 3DS, but I do think the investors are going to be patient with him. So to answer your question, I do not think Iwata is going to be fired anytime soon. I really see him sticking this out. I think the Wii U will turn around a bit. I really hope, like I said, the Wii U sells about 30 million units. If it gets anywhere near that, Iwata is definitely not going to lose his job. I think he's a great man. He can definitely bring Nintendo out of this, and he can definitely lead them in the right direction like he did previously, both with the Wii and with the DS. Thank you very much for your question. That concludes this week's episode of Question Lithium. If you have any questions for me, be sure to follow me on Twitter at CollectNintendo and add the hashtag QLithium. If you haven't seen my last video from Question Lithium that was all about the cost of my collection, be sure to click on that video playing in the top right hand corner. Please comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts on the Wii U right now, the 3DS, the state of Nintendo, and whether or not Iwata should keep his job. Feel free to fill that like bucket, follow me on Facebook and on Twitter, and remember, as always, go collect 'em all.